Fish on Fridays. I'm McCauley, and I'm assuming most of you have received Christmas cards in the past that depict, of course, Mary holding baby Jesus. And one of the questions I get asked every now and then when I do Bible studies at my parish or what have you, and I show pieces of art, especially around Christmas time in the Incarnation, I'll get asked about it is going to sound blunt, why does baby Jesus look kind of ugly? Why does he look like a little man? And it's interesting because there is, believe it or not, a purpose to this. And in the history of art, this was very prevalent in what we would call the late medieval period. So right around, let's say the year 1000 to about 1300, so prior to the Renaissance, we had this movement among great artists that we would recognize today, like Duccio and Giotto, and they're going to present or depict Jesus as a little man. And the word in Latin for that is homunculus, which literally means little man, that Jesus is this fully formed man as a child. And again, this is prior to the 14th century and the burgeoning and the beginning of the Renaissance period in art. But there's a purpose to it. There's a theology behind it. It wasn't just because they didn't know how to paint babies. It was because they wanted to give viewers a sense of true theology. And what they depicted was the fully developed Jesus represented his divinity and his perfection. And yet in the small baby-like stature, it shows his humanity and his potential. If I had to summarize it in one sentence, this is what I would say. The homunculus, this little man, this baby Jesus shown as a little man, it really comes down to this, that Jesus, who is Jesus Christ, the most famous baby in all of art in the world, needed to look like a fully formed adult. He just had to, because at that time, again, the church was very strongly believing that Christ's divinity was something that we were losing and lacking. And so we needed to present essentially a fully formed, unchanging Jesus, so that we would recognize his divinity and not get caught up in just the humanity of him. So in fact, Christ needed, underline, capitalized, in their mind, Christ needed to appear in the form of an adult to convey that truth, that he wasn't able to change, wasn't going to change, because he's God. He's not going to change. His age wouldn't change, and so he had to be shown as a grown man. So if you look at pieces of art, especially from the pre-Renaissance period, and you think that Jesus looks a little different, a little weird, because he's kind of like bald in some cases, like a fully grown man, that's why. It's the homunculus thing. On a lesser note, it may also convey that the artists knew fully well that people who were going to see their art were parents, and what they wanted more than anything else was healthy children, because at that time it wasn't uncommon for children to die either at childbirth or within the first year of life. And so it was maybe a hope for them to look at the Christ child and say, hey, I can get my inspiration there, and my child will live past a year and go on to adulthood. But either way, the homunculus is something that's kind of awkward to look at. But again, there is a theology behind it, stressing the two natures of Christ, the divinity and the humanity. So if you're watching this right before Christmas, hopefully when you get Christmas cards and you see baby Jesus on it, you'll recognize, yes, he was human, but he was also fully divine. So there you go. If this topic's of an interest to you and you think someone else would like it, please feel free to share it. We'd love it if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook. But either way, we hope you will tune in every Friday for Fish on Fridays. Until next time, please be good to each other, and God bless.